This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
I've got a lot of grandbabies, like a lot. And when it comes to finding a gift for each of them, it could add up. But this year, while I was making my way through Walmart, I realized I don't have to spend a lot to get the gifts they'll love.
An OPI mini mani set! I'm gonna do so much nail art.
Oh, yeah! A Lego set! My own Awala water bottle!
Ooh, and that's just half of them.
Shop great gifts they're sure to love for $25 and under at Walmart.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is. Cover news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, right here on the Eagles Pinpoll Podcast Network. I'm your host, Phil Stifle. You can find me on all social media platforms at BeardAKnowledge, along with hosting Trending in the AM Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30 on the STT Sports Network, which I have linked today's show down below. Just copy and paste it and tune in. The only show where your opinions actually matter. Covered all things Philadelphia sports, not just the Philadelphia Eagles. And guys, it's back to work, okay? The drama's behind us. I'm going to address a few more comments of the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown drama that was started by Brandon Graham to start this, but we are going to start focusing on this week's matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we always do on Thursdays, talking about who the opponent for the Philadelphia Eagles are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and where their season is and is headed. We'll also cover Wednesday's practice report as well. First and foremost, everybody got to speak to the media for the first time today since all this happened. Nick Sirianni said, and I quote, well, I'm paraphrasing his quote, "You only see them," you being the media, for the 3 hours of emotions in a game day situation and not the rest of the week, not during the day, not in meetings, not at lunchtime, not on the weekends. So just basically there's a lot of unnecessary assumptions that have been made. Jalen Hurts spoke, and he basically said Brandon Graham spoke out of place, and Brandon Graham knows that he and AJ are fine. They both know whatever it takes to win, that's what they're going to do. But he did emphasize that it's going to look different every season. Basically talking about sometimes it's going to be a pass-heavy offense. Sometimes like this year, run-happy offense. It's about the team. I don't care how it looks. It's kind of my game, and I think that's something that people have to accept. It's going to look how Jalen Hurts wants it to look, but he's going to win. They're his quotes. Look, the best way to sum it up and move on from this whole drama was Jordan Mailata, one of the truest leaders that this team has. And he was asked about it. I believe it was just after practice. And he said, and I quote, "It's the Pittsburgh Steelers week, not the A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts show." So let's talk about that. Let's listen to what the captain, Jordan Mailata, said. It is Pittsburgh Steelers week. First, let's look at the first injury report for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. There was a lot of guys resting this week, as it's always the case this late in the season. Mekhi Becton, A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, and Josh Sweat all rested today. Lane Johnson had a personal day today, so they did not participate in practice today. Sidney Brown didn't practice today with his knee injury that's been bothering him. Limited participants in practice: Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter, Brittany Covey, and Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean was for a rest reason. Brittany Covey for a neck and the shoulder that's flared up a few times for Jalen Carter. The Reed Blankenship limited participant with the concussion is a great sign because that means he's trending towards playing on Sunday, which is something we need. Sidney Brown, Avonte Maddox are your only other safeties. Tristan McCullum. You need Reed Blankenship. Even though he's had an up-and-down year, you need Reed Blankenship out there. So that is a very, very positive sign. Full participants in practice for Nakobe Dean with an elbow. And Jalen Hurts popping up on the injury list with a left finger issue, but he did practice in full. So that is all positive things moving forward as we get set to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. And who are the Pittsburgh Steelers, our opponents this week? They are a team that's got a really, really solid defense. 7th-ranked defense. I know we are the top-ranked defense in football. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not far behind us as the 7th-best-ranked defense, giving up only 310 yards per game. They're the 5th-best points per game defense, 18.3 points per game. They do give up some yards in the air. They're the 17th-ranked pass defense at over 218 yards per game. And then they're the 4th-best rush defense, only giving up 91.5 yards a game. Offensively speaking, the Pittsburgh offense is the 17th-ranked offense in football. They do score the 10th most points in football at almost 25 points a game. They do not pass the ball well at 206 yards a game, but they do run the ball pretty well as well at 132 yards per game. So where are the Pittsburgh Steelers? Who are the Pittsburgh Steelers? They are 10-3. And their story this year is really interesting because they were 4-2 through the first 6 weeks of the season, and they benched their starting quarterback, Justin Fields, when Russell Wilson is ready. And Russell Wilson has gone on and won 6 out of 7 games, taking over as the starting quarterback. This team is 10-3 at this point of the season. And while they have a really bad loss to the Browns, and I guess the Cowboys and Colts loss early in the season, now looking back on it, are bad losses, they have put up a lot of points. They've also had some games where they've had some very low-scoring offenses early in the season under Justin Fields. They're putting up some numbers, this offense, but I'm not really sure how, because when you look at their stats offensively speaking, they're not lighting the world on fire. Russell Wilson's averaging about 250 yards a game, which isn't bad in his 7 starts. He's got 12 touchdowns, a couple interceptions. He has been sacked 19 times. So Russell Wilson is doing it, but he's doing it in a very spread the ball out. George Pickens is their top wide receiver. He's got 850 yards receiving, but he is most likely going to be out for the game. Pat Freiermuth, their tight end, Najee Harris, Van Jefferson. They've got some names on here, but they really don't have anybody wide receiver-wise or tight end-wise that's a real serious threat. Their running game, their running offense is 9th in the league. But as a team, they're only averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Najee Harris, their lead running back, they run the ball a lot. They only average 3.9 yards he only averages 3.9 yards a carry. Jalen Warren, their change of pace back, only averaging 4.1 yards per carry. Russell Wilson doesn't move the way he used to. They will use Justin Fields from time to time for select packages, but their offense is very bland, but yet putting up a lot of points, which tells me they're a well-disciplined team, a well-coached team that has a game plan each week on how to attack their opponents. So it is something that you have to watch out for. We're not going to beat them they're not going to beat us, the Eagles, because one of their stars just goes crazy. It's going to be a team effort, offensively speaking. Defensively speaking is where you have to watch this team. Obviously, they got Patrick Queen, their leading tackler on defense at linebacker. They obviously have TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward with their massive amount of sacks, combined 17.5 sacks between those two guys. Obviously, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig. They got some guys that can tackle and get after the quarterback. Preston Smith. They also have guys that can pick off passes. If you make mistakes, Bernie Bishop and Dante Jackson, their 2 cornerbacks, have combined 8 interceptions on the season. They've got a defense that, while their defense is ranked 7th overall compared to our number 1 overall defense, their defense is very, very, very scary facing them. TJ Watt's got 9.5 sacks and 5 forced fumbles on the season. Just think about that. Just think about the havoc that can wreak. So the Eagles are going to have a great game plan on offense to attack the defense. And while they have the 4th best rushing defense, Pittsburgh, it didn't stop the Eagles when they went up against a great rush defense against the Baltimore Ravens. We were still able to run. The key to attacking a defense that's got pass rushers like TJ Watt on it is to attack them in the run game. It's to run right at those guys sometimes. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson. The crew on this Eagles offensive line is going to have their hands full with the front of the Pittsburgh defense. That is how winning in the trenches is how you win this kind of a game. It opened as a 4.5-point favorite, the Eagles, 44.5 over-under. It's now down to 41.5, the over-under, but the line is going up to 5.5. So the numbers are they're stretching this. It seems like it's on paper an Eagles win, but the Eagles are going to have to dominate in the trenches. I know all the noise with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. This is not the week to force the ball to A.J. Brown to make the fans and the media happy. One other thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers that I'm looking at, and I'm not sure how I feel about it exactly yet, but after this week's game against the Eagles, the Steelers then have a division game for first place is not, they got a 2-game lead right now on Baltimore, but the next week it's in Baltimore against their division rival, Baltimore Ravens, who are still trying to win the division. And then after that, they got Kansas City on Christmas Day on a short week. And then after that, they got Cincinnati, another division opponent. So the Steelers' schedule after the Eagles gets extremely difficult. So I don't know if the Steelers would be looking. This could be one of those situations where they look ahead and pass the Eagles, and maybe that helps us in some form. But that's what I got right now. Tomorrow we'll get into more keys to victory for the Eagles and what I think the Eagles' game plan should be. This is the Eagles Checkdown. We are moving on from drama, and we're refocusing on football. The Eagles Checkdown right here on the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network. Check out Training the AM at 8 a.m. on the STT Sports Network. Link down below, guys. Go Birds and bubbles up.
Future you faces some big expectations. Work out more, go to bed earlier, and most importantly, make smart money decisions. Thankfully, today you has Bank of America. One place with tools and guidance to help balance tasks from budgeting to saving. So you can just be you with big plans. Do more with a bank that asks, what would you like the power to do? Explore our tips and more at bankofamerica.com/futureyou.
Craven, the hunter, who uses all the methods of the animals.
Now, witness the making of a new Marvel villain.
Once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is Craven the Hunter. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
Gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs fragrances this holiday season. From the iconic Daisy and Perfect to the all-new Daisy Wild, Marc Jacobs perfume gift sets include everything she needs to feel special. From her favorite fragrance, plus the matching travel spray, holiday gifts don't get much more perfect than this. So if you're looking for a gift inspiration these holidays, gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write 1 million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.